Good morning everyone. The part 2 of the lesson chemical bonding and the molecular structure is ionic or electrovalent bond. It is clear that we have already discussed in the previous classes about the ionic or the covalent bond. It means where the transfer of the electron takes place. Maybe gaining of electron takes place or the losing of the electron takes place. Such type of a bond is known as the ionic bond or the electrovalent bond. So in this type of a bonding, one atom complete its octet and acquire noble gas configuration by losing the electrons and other by gaining the electrons. So the atom which loses the electron acquires the positive charge, whereas the atom which gains the electron acquire the negative charge. So these two oppositely charged ions thus come closer due to the electrostatic force of attraction, because we know very well that there is a very strong force of attraction between the positive and the negative charge. So such type of a bond is known as the ionic bond. So it is defined as the electrostatic force of attraction which hold oppositely charged ions together is known as the ionic bond, and it is also known as the electrovalent bond. And the compound containing the ionic bond or the electrovalent bond are known as the ionic compounds or the electrovalent compound. Ionic compounds or the electrovalent compound. We have the various large example of the ionic compound, and the one of the very common example is NaCl, that is Na plus ion combined with the Cl negative ion and we get the NaCl. So NaCl is the ionic compound. It is also called the electrovalent compound. So the ionic compound in the crystalline state, they are mostly in the crystalline state. They have a crystalline, they are generally called the crystalline solids. Now if we talk about the formation of the ionic bond, so we have certain point under this category. The first is the formation of the positive and the negative ion from the respective neutral atom. This is the first case. And the second case is the arrangement of the positive and the negative ion, because the ionic compound contain the positive and the negative ion. So the arrangement of the positive and the negative ion in a solid, and this is called the lattice, the arrangement. Now here I am using the word lattice. That is lattice. Lattice means arrangement. That is the arrangement of positive and negative ions. The arrangement of positive and negative ion in the solid is known as the lattice of the crystalline compound. Now if we discuss the factors, now let us discuss the factors. Now these are the factors on which the formation of ionic bond depend. So there are variety of the factor, and the one important factor is low ionization enthalpy. Low ionization enthalpy. Now the easy with which the atom can lose electron depend upon its ionization enthalpy, and the ionization enthalpy is, this topic we have discussed earlier, that ionization enthalpy is also known as the energy, is the amount of energy required to remove the most loosely bound electron from an isolated gaseous atom to form a positive ion. So for example, we have any atom M. It is in the gaseous state. So if we want to remove one electron from this, so it become M plus and we have removed one electron. Why it become M positive? Because it loses one electron. So to remove this electron, certain amount of energy is required, and this amount of energy is known as the ionization energy or the ionization enthalpy. So lesser the ionization enthalpy of an atom, the greater is the ease of losing the valency electron if the ionization energy of the atom is lesser. So there will be a greater chance that we can remove easily the electron from the atom. So therefore in general, metals which have low ionization values have greater tendency to form the ionic bond. It means the metals in which those who possess the lesser ionization enthalpy value, so they have a great tendency to form the ionic bond. So the example of such type of a metal are all the alkali metals as well as alkaline earth metal. All the alkali metals and all the alkaline metals, they have relatively low ionization enthalpy, and generally they form ionic compounds. They generally form ionic compound. Now the second case is high electron gain. This is the second factor, high electron gain enthalpy. This is the second factor. The first factor is this one, that is the low ionization enthalpy. This is the second factor, high electron gain enthalpy. The tendency of an atom to gain electron depend upon its electron gain enthalpy. And now what is electron gain enthalpy? The electron gain enthalpy is the amount of energy. It is also enthalpy, it means it is energy. So it is the amount of energy released. It is not required, it is released. So it is the amount of energy released when an electron is added to an isolated gaseous atom to form a negative ion. How it forms? For example, we have any atom X. It is present in its gaseous state, and if we want to add this electron, to that atom, so when this electron is added with this atom, so a definite or a certain amount of energy is released, and that amount of energy is known as electron gain enthalpy, and it become X negative. Why it become negative? Because it accept a electron. That's why it means it gains a negative charge. That's why it become negatively charged. So these are the important factors on which these are the factor on which the formation of the ionic bond or the formation of the ionic compound depends. Now the next term is the lattice enthalpy, and it is also a factor. This is the first factor, this one is the second factor, and this is the third factor, that is the lattice enthalpy, or we can say that the high lattice enthalpy. So first of all, we will discuss what is lattice enthalpy. The lattice enthalpy of an ionic solid is defined as the energy required. Now it is the energy required, it is the energy needed, energy required to completely separate 1 mole of a solid ionic compound into its gaseous constituent. So that is NaCl. So if we want to separate the ions of the NaCl, this is an ionic compound. So for that we require an amount of energy to separate NaCl into Na plus and Cl negative. So to break down this one, we get some amount of energy, and that energy is known as the lattice energy. This energy is called the lattice energy. Higher the value of the lattice enthalpy, greater will be the case of the formation of the ionic compound. Greater will be the case of the formation of the ionic compound. So the ionization process is always endothermic. Endothermic means it absorbs energy, while the electron gain enthalpy process may be exothermic. It means it releases the energy, or maybe endothermic means it absorbs the energy. Whereas if we are talking about the lattice enthalpy, so lattice enthalpy is the exothermic. It means it releases energy. Now the next heading is bond. This is the new heading, bond parameters. So this is bond parameters. So the covalent bonds. Now this heading belongs to the covalent bond. The covalent bonds are characterized by certain parameters. These are known as the bond parameters, and the example of the bond parameters are, the first type of bond parameter is a bond length, second is the bond angle, and third one is the bond energy. So let us discuss one by one. So first of all, we have discussed the first bond parameter, and that is known as the bond length. This parameter is called the bond length. So bond length is defined as the equilibrium distance between the nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule. Two bonded atoms in a molecule. Now let us take an example. These are the two bonded atoms. Now this is the center of this one, and this is the center of this atom. So let us draw a line. Now this is the center, this is the center, and this is the place where they bonded with each other. This distance is RA, and this distance is RB. These are the center of the atoms. So now let us again, I have discussed this topic, that is the bond length. Now look at here and try to understand. So the equilibrium distance between the center of the nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule. Now it is an atom, and when they combine, so it become a molecule. In between a nuclei of two bonded atom in a molecule. So it represents the equilibrium internuclear separation distance of the bonded atom in a molecule. Now R is equals to, let us, RA plus RB. This is the radius of this one, and this one RB is the radius of this one. So it is measured by the spectroscopic or the X-ray diffraction and the electron diffraction technique. So each atom of the bonded pair contribute to the bond length, and in the case of the covalent bond, the contribution of each atom is called the covalent radii. In case if we are talking about the covalent bond, covalent compound, so this radius is called the covalent radius. This radius is called the covalent radius. and the bond length of the covalent molecule AB. For example, this is the A and this is the B. So if we want to find out the bond length of the covalent molecule AB, so it may be represented as this is the bond length, this is the bond length is equal to RA plus RB, RA plus RB. So this is all about the first bond parameter, which is known as the bond length. Okay, now let us discuss the factors. Now there are certain factors, that is factors affecting bond length. Factors affecting bond length. Now bond length depends upon the following factors. Under this, the first factor is bond multiplicity. That is bond, this is T5, bond multiplicity. So the bond length decreases. These are the factors. So be careful that bond length decreases with increase in the bond multiplicity. Bond length decreases. Bond length. Now, bond length decreases with increase in bond multiplicity. Bond length decreases with increase in bond multiplicity. It means if we have C double bond C. So, triple. If we are talking triple, multiplicity means we have maximum three bond, single bond, double bond and the triple bond. So C triple bond C bond length is always shorter. It is always shorter than CC double bond, which in turn shorter than C single bond. So this is the first factor. As the bond multiplicity increases, the bond length is decreases. So we can write it as a C triple bond C is less than C double bond C is less than C single bond C. So this is the first factor, that is the bond multiplicity. Now the second factor is the size of the atom. This is the another factor, size of the atom. The bond length increases with increase in the size of the atom. It is clear because this is the bond length. This length increases when the size increases. So the bond length increases with increase in the size of the atom. Now the second bond parameter is bond angle. This is the second parameter, that is the bond angle. So the bond angle may be defined as the average angle. This is the average angle between the orbitals containing bonding electron pairs around the central metal atom. For example, let us take an example of H2O. The H2O has a bent symmetry. Bent symmetry means its structure is a bent structure. So the structure of the water, H2O is the water, is this one is the structure of the water. Here the oxygen is the central metal atom to which the hydrogen is connected. So this angle. We are talking about this angle, and this angle is 104.5 degree. This is the bond angle. This angle is called the bond angle. So this one is the second parameter. Now the third parameter is bond enthalpy. This is the third parameter, bond enthalpy. Now it is defined as the amount of energy required. It is the energy. Enthalpy means energy. So it is the amount of energy required to break 1 mole of bond. 1 mole of bond of a particular type between two atoms in the gaseous state. And the unit of the bond enthalpy is kilojoule per mole. Kilojoule per mole is the unit. So it is the amount of energy required to break a 1 mole of a bond of a particular type between two bonded atoms. So let us take an example. For example, H2. And if you want to break this, H2 is a molecule, and if you want to break the 2 hydrogen atom from this molecule, so certain amount of energy is required. So this energy is known as the bond enthalpy, and this is also known as the bond dissociation, means to break down, bond dissociation enthalpy. So in case of the H2, the bond dissociation enthalpy is near about, that is 435.8 kilojoule per mole. So the similarly and this is different for all the different type of the molecule. The bond dissociation enthalpy is different. Now the bond dissociation enthalpy depends upon two factors. This enthalpy depends upon two factors. The first factor is the size of the bonded atom. Size of the bonded atom. This is the first factor, size of the bonded atoms. So the smaller the size of the bonded atom, the stronger is the bond. We know very well, if we have, for example, we have two atoms. We have two atoms. And this one is a nucleus. The size of this one is bigger in comparison to this one. It means in case of this atom, the nucleus holds the electron tightly in comparison to this one. So similar to that, the smaller the size of the bond, if the size of the bond is the size of the bonded atom, sorry, not bond, the size of the bonded atom is smaller, the stronger is the bond. And if the bond is stronger, so the higher amount of energy is required to break such type of a bond. So this is the first factor. And the second factor is the bond length. That is the bond length. This one is the second factor. So shorter the bond length, larger is the value of the bond enthalpy. If the length of the bond is shorter, so the larger is the value of the bond enthalpy, because if the length is shorter, so the attraction is higher. If the length is shorter, so the force of attraction is higher, and to break down such type of a force of attraction, we have to provide a large amount of the enthalpy, or that is called the bond enthalpy or the bond dissociation enthalpy. Now the next term is the average bond enthalpy. Average bond enthalpy. So the bond dissociation enthalpy is, that time we termed it as an average if we are talking about the polyatomic molecule. Here we have a diatomic molecule, but if we are talking about the polyatomic molecule, that time we require the average bond enthalpy. So let us take the example of a polyatomic molecule. For example, we have H2O, And if we want to break out this H2O into its constituent, so first of all, it will be breakdown as follows: H plus OH, and then in the second step, this one is the H plus O. So for that, when H2O is break down into H plus OH, amount of enthalpy is required, and it is, I think, nearly about that is 502 kilojoule per mole. Now for that, if this OH is break down into H plus O, because this breakdown takes place in the two steps, so for that we require 427 kilojoule per mole energy. We require this energy. And now if here we are using the word average bond enthalpy, so how can we find out the average? So average bond enthalpy, this ABE stand for the average bond enthalpy, is equal to, first of all, 502 plus 427 divided by 2. I think it's near about 464.5 kilojoule per mole. So this is the average bond enthalpy, and we can find the average bond enthalpy by this method. Now the last bond parameter is bond order. This one is the last bond parameter. So in the Lewis description of the covalent bond, the bond order is given by the number of bond between the two atoms in a molecule. Number of bond order means the number of bond between the two atoms in a molecule. For example, H, we know that there is a single bond, so its bond order is 1. N2, how we represent N2? N triple bond N. So here bond order is 3. If O2, O double bond O, we know that from the Lewis structure, so its bond order is equal to 2. So this is the way to find out the bond order. Now there is the significance, or there is a particular line for this bond order, is that with increase in bond order, means as the bond order increases, from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So with increase in bond order, the bond enthalpy increases. The bond enthalpy increases and the bond length decreases. With increase in the bond order, the bond enthalpy increases and the bond length decreases.